is Digivation Network.
You're welcome to Digivation.
Good afternoon, my brother.
Okay.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Okay. I think the conversation is centered around the digital economy that Nigeria has. The Nigerian government has officially come to recognize that we are in. With that, the Ministry of Communication has been added with the digital economy, let me say, responsibilities. Are we late entry into the digital realm, or we are just on time?
What you've just addressed to me, I will take it from two perspectives. If you think about Africa, the continent of over 1 billion people, and you think of the mobile adoption, that's the mobile telephony adoption over the years, and the current situation where we find ourselves with close to 600 million subscriptions in a population of just over 1 billion. And we see that Nigeria's market represents almost 20% of that. Then you see that though there's huge potential for the mobile penetration to still increase with the adoption of smartphones, we're still behind when you compare ourselves to the global world indices. Let's try and hone in slowly into Nigeria. And if you compare Nigeria to the rest of the other countries that make up Africa, we're behind Egypt, we're behind Rwanda, we're behind, to a degree, South Africa, and maybe one or other two countries. Not so much in terms of the fact that we are not the fastest growing telecommunication companies in the continents, in terms of our size and in terms of the numbers, which we have a lot. We are just estimated to be 200 million Nigerians. So you see that the potential is there. And when you look at the basket of Africa itself, I still see that we'll get to a situation where we'll have maybe 1 billion subscribers, and that would represent close to 100% penetration. But when you look at the infrastructure is a huge challenge.
So how have you tried to resolve the infrastructural issues? Apart from the infrastructural deficiency, we also have, let me use a popular word, not working infrastructure. I put it that way. You have it in Lagos. You can't transport it to Maiduguri, you can't transport it to Edo. And then if by chance the operators are able to wriggle through with the government policies that are so, cumbersome, they're able to go through to transport it to Edo State and all of that, the end user bears the brunt.
Let me help you. When I say help you, not really help you, but let's put it in context. So around the world, there isn't anywhere where you have 100% broadband penetration. So we can breathe a bit.
Yes.
95% exists, 98% exists, but 100% doesn't exist. So in Nigeria, we're on 37.8%, reflecting on the infrastructure. What do I mean by the infrastructure? There's several parts I want to break down. We, in the last 20 years, have relied on certain wireless infrastructure. It has gotten us to a level where we have 66 million unique subscribers who own a phone and are individually making calls. But remember, they have multiple SIMs. So we have a subscription base of 178 million subscriptions, reflecting on about 68 million subscribers. But then when you break it down, there are connections. Some of them not humans, they're machine to machine. So even with the current technology, we've been able to build a subscription base that exceeds many countries around the world.
Will you give it a pass now at the level at which the digital environment has grown in Nigeria?
No, I wouldn't really, and I'll tell you why. Because we risk islands of development. Lagos, even within Lagos, if you go to the mall and you're in one of them, you tend to find that there's fiber presence, much more than other parts of Lagos, let alone outside Lagos. And you can replicate that view in Abuja. We were talking about FCT versus Nasarawa State. Most people have to commute from Nasarawa to Abuja. If they had fiber to the home, they could do teleworking. They wouldn't necessarily need to parade themselves into the center of their city capital to do work. So you can see that there are gaps. And if you go to Port Harcourt in the south, in areas of Port Harcourt, that's replicated. So what we have an island of haves and have-nots. And the real challenge is that we need funds that can actually assist us to fill in those gaps. And those type of funds really usually come from the World Bank or from other institutions.
You use the internet.
Yes, I do.
Are you impressed?
I'm fortunate. I represent those that are the fortunate or the elites in our space who actually have high-speed internet, and I have an education and a background that allows me to know how to use it productively. But I can't then represent myself in all honesty, and I take that criticism to say that that's replicated across every Nigerian.
So, but the inefficiency in the usage of some of these things that we're talking about now, you nod your head when I was saying it. Okay, that means that exists. We can talk. But to use other applications that would be beneficial to us and all of that is a challenge.
Yes, I mean, I want to talk about the policy bit, and I nodded my head around the policy. You are right. And let me take it from the evolution that we've come to. Our policy is still very voice-centric. What do I mean by that? It still sees Nigeria where it was in 2001. So when we talk about the digital economy, it's not just about changing the name on a ministry. No, it's much more than that. It's about effectively identifying those gaps and bringing in agencies and policies, not in silos, but collaboratively to try and address them.
On a very final note, as we begin to wind down, is the issue of skill. If you build a digital society, have all the connections or the broadband that you should have, people will drive it. If you have a digital society with analog skills, I don't think it will move.
You know, one of the things that is beautiful, you can't wait for a perfect situation.
Yes.
We are where we are. The older generation in our society cannot pick up the digital skills. Yes. Some of them, they're maybe 2% of the older. I've seen some. The real target for what we are building is for those that are 5-year-old right now, or young babies, those that are still below the age of 34, that can still change. Knowledge society is here to stay. The way technology is enabling that drive is what we need to ensure that the younger segment that I've just shared with you grabs. We give them opportunities to pick up so that we become relevant. Because what you don't want a situation whereby the statement you've made, where you're analog, especially government needs to change, and we need to really e-governmentize all the services. We need to do that as a matter of fact. It's not about digital technology now, it's as a matter of fact, so that the young ones coming in are comfortable with bring your own device. They already have an environment that replicates their generation, so that their counterparts outside are also communicating with them, and it becomes a naturalism. Like people say, you give anyone a device, if they say this is the way to access money, they will learn it. It's not, and in any language, I can tell you that. So those types of incentives government needs to find, and then government has to produce and really build a conducive, enabling environment for that to happen. So what do I mean? I mean the education system has to change. The curriculum has to change. STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics has to be, whether you're an engineer or not. It's not about all science this or not, because the world has embraced technology that is complex.
We have seen all the deficiencies and how the different silos that we are creating now, and then we need connectivity to ensure that we drive all of this environment for the benefit of tomorrow generation. So, what can you say on the last line to the generality of Nigerians? Because you represent that critical mass, the professionals.
The thing I'll say, and there is always hope, Nigerians should expect by 2025, based on the soon-to-be-released official Nigerian broadband plan of 2020-2025, 90% 4G coverage. 90%, with the remaining 10% covered by alternative technologies like satellites in those hard-to-reach areas. You will see also that you will have speeds that far exceeds what the Nigerian broadband plan of 2013 to 2018 mandated by 2025. And those speeds are like 10 times the speeds. So it will give a real quality consumer experience.
Thank you very much for your time.
You're most welcome. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
This is Digivation Network.